You're now listening to Blacks on Bikes podcast. Stay tuned for more music, info, and interviews. You are now on that crank, baby. Oh, yeah.
Hey, guys, what's going on? It's Marcus here with Blacks on Bikes. And today, my my boy out in Cali is Dwayne Ward, none other, from D-Dub Custom Sports. So give it up for Dwayne and welcome, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate
it. Yeah, I know we tried to get together a couple of different times, but, you know, life of cycling and all the other stuff kind of getting away. But like I say, man, we made it, and I am happy to have you on here, brother. So,
yeah, I'm glad to be here, man. You know, I want to help any way I can. You know, it's good to talk to you again, and let's get it started.
Yeah. So start out, just kind of tell the guys, you know, your name, where what state you're in, and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah, my name is Dwayne Ward. I'm here based in Northern California, and I've been producing cycling clothing since 2012. I've actually been designing since 1993, but officially started in 2012 with my company, and we produce cycling clothing, sports-related clothing, and basically right now we've been working with a lot of cycling teams, a lot of individuals. I make clothing for close friends, so I make like what we call one-off clothing. And we source all our materials from Italy, but our production facility is actually in Shanghai, in Asia, because as you know, the production cost is less, the labor is less, so you know I can maintain some pretty decent margins, you know, so that I can provide quality clothing at a good profit for myself, but a good a price range for the customer.
Right.
So even though our clothing is what I would consider mid to high level, we don't charge a lot for our clothing because we want to offer value to our customers. So
and you know what? Not to cut you off, but you know, actually, when Taj over in South Carolina received his kit, he was actually surprised because, you know, with the price, he was like, man, we got once he received the kit, he said, man, wow, he said, this kit is like amazing. They're like the stitching and everything is so, so well put together. It's a premium kit, he said, but when we ordered our kit for the RWB, which is a military thing, a red, white, and blue, he said our kit was like almost twice. It wasn't twice. Yeah, he said almost like twice the price. And your kit is such a better quality level, and it's more like, to explain it to the listeners, it's like getting a suit, difference between getting a suit off the rack versus a tailored suit. So that's the way I kind of try to explain to people. So it's a premium kit.
Yeah, you know, we like to focus in on the details. Right. I'm a detail type person, so you had to look at our kits and stuff like that. And I'll give you an example. Like if depending on the design, I will use a different color stitch to secure the elastic bands on the sleeves and the bottom of the jersey or the shorts, so that it's a color that complements the design of the customer. Most companies are only going to use black thread and white thread. And the reason why they do that is because it's very easy for the seamstress to put one spool of white thread or black thread on her table and sew hundreds of garments. She doesn't want to pull off the white, pull off the black, and put purple, orange, or whatever color. But they do it for me, so that's a little detail that I like to have. I want to offer those details to my customers. Like you said, they get the jersey, they look at it and go, wow, I never noticed that. That's a pretty nice little detail there. So, yeah, that's kind of like what we like to do.
Right, and I tell you what, I just love, and everyone who has a Blacks on Bike kit, they love the kits. Like I say, it took us a while to go through and get it all designed, but man, I'm really impressed with my kit, and I love it to death, man. I really do, and I appreciate you.
We appreciate the support. It's good to have the support when we get starting out like we are.
Right, and I tell you what, everybody that's listening, make sure that you shop with your own. So if you're going to get kits done, or for a club or anything, make sure that you contact Dwayne, and he'll give you guys his contact information website here in just a little bit, okay? All right, so Dwayne, my brother, how did you get started in cycling? That's always like the magic question for our people, okay?
Oh, wow, that's quite an interesting story. Well, before I got into cycling, I used to work out with my brother. We used to just work out in the weights. I was more of like a bodybuilder type guy. We go in there and we do squats and military. We do everything. And then we go out and run like a mile after doing everything. So
before you say that, how long have you been cycling? I'm going somewhere with this. How long have you been cycling?
I started cycling in 1988.
You know what, guys? This is after me and Dwayne had talked for a while. Me and Dwayne talk, pretty regularly. We talk about a lot of stuff about life and all the other good stuff. But when he told me that, 1988, I was like, wow. Now, I'm not going to give away his age or anything like that. But I'll just say he's cycling keeps from cracking. Let's put it that way. Dwayne looks very young, but I'm telling you guys. Can I just say like you're closer to this number versus that number? Is that okay?
The what?
Can I say like you're closer to this number versus that number? Is that okay?
Oh, I don't have a problem with my age. I'll give you my age. Okay. I just turned 55.
Dwayne just turned 55.
June 10th.
I thought Dwayne was like in his late 40s, man, or mid 40s actually. So anyway, go ahead with your story, bros. Tell us how you got cycling. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we used to work out in the weight room, and we go to run and things like that, right? So the area that I lived in was just Palo Alto. And for your listeners, Palo Alto is like right next to the city over from where Stanford University is located, about 40 miles south of San Francisco on the peninsula. And in that particular area, it's very few black people. At the time that I grew up in the 70s, very few black people, mostly white people. The city was majority white. And so, as you know, cycling is something that white people tended to do, and black people, minorities really didn't do it back then. We played basketball, football, whatever. So I just see this guy riding by in front of my house. He had a nice Italian bike. Back then, there was no helmets or whatever. The guy just riding by. And I knew the guy, right? So one day I stopped and I go, hey. I said, it's a nice-looking bike. It was real colorful, Italian paint job. He goes, oh, yeah. He goes, this is my friend's bike. He loaned it to me. And it's really nice. I go, well, do you ride a lot? And, I see you all the time. And, I really like your bike. And he goes, no. He goes, it's like a chick magnet, man. Yeah, that's why I ride. I go, oh, okay.
Now, about how old were you at this time? I'm sorry. Now, about how old were you at this time?
I was about 19.
19, okay.
At the time.
Okay.
So that was my first kind of like, introduction to a road bike riding. So, like I said, I used to work out in the gym with my brother, and then aside from working out in the gym, like most typical young men, 20, 21, go to the club, right?
Right.
Drink beer, drink alcohol, chase women, whatever it was, hang out with my friends. And so I was doing that one day at the park. I was hanging out with my friends. We were drinking a beer. We were out there all day. And so I hate to admit it, but, after we did all that, later in the evening, we got in our cars and drove home, right?
Right.
So we drove home, and me and my friend were racing. So I went around the corner, spun my wheels, car slid out. I went over the curb, and I hit a big old tree on the driver's side. Wrapped my car around the tree.
Wow.
And wrapped it totally around the tree. That thing was like V-shaped. So from there, I had no car. But my brother had like a touring bike, so I had to get to work. So I started riding the bike to work. So once I started riding the bike to work, that led to going to the bike shop to get interviews and stuff that I need to keep, my job basically. And the more time I spent at the bike shop, the more I got into learning that there was a sport that people were doing, riding bikes and racing and all that other stuff.
Now I can imagine, and I'm not being, don't mean to be cutting you off, but just trying to answer the question that some of the listeners may have in their head. Okay, so when you were going to the bike shop back in the 80s, you probably never ever saw a black person inside of the shop, huh?
No. Oh no. No. Most of the black people I knew were close friends of mine that I went to school with. No one's in the bike shop.
Right.
No, it was quite an eye opener, But this is, at a time we're talking 1987, right? So right. I'm looking at something, reading the magazines and stuff, and I'm getting the bike parts that I need. and then I was saving my money for a car because I was riding maybe like, I think I rode my bike about 6 months, right, before I had the money to get another car. So I had the money to get the car, but by that time I was kind of really digging riding a bike.
Right.
So I decided that, well, you know what? I like these race bikes they got. I like the way they look. I thought, I'm going to get a race bike. But at that time, a top-end Italian race bike, kind of 1988, top-end race bike with Campagnola top-end group component was $1,250.
No way.
Yeah, I was like, $450 for a bike? No way I'm paying $1,250.
Yeah, cause back then that would be equivalent to about what, $10,000 now, right?
Oh, easy. Yeah,
easy for the top end bike being like $10,000.
Right, exactly. So I called around some other bike shops because I like Campagnola. I like the frame I saw. It was called the Choach, and I called around the bike shop and I found a bike shop in a city about 15 miles away. The guy goes, "Yeah, we got the same brand. We got Campagnola. It's got all Campagnola, and it's $500." I'm like, $500. So I went down there. Sure enough, all Campagnola is the same manufacturer frame that I was looking for. But what I didn't know was the different levels to the Gruppos, right? To the
right.
It was a bare low end Campagnola. I didn't care. It was all Campagnola, right? So I bought that for $500, and I remember when I brought it home. At the time, I was living with my mom. And,
hold on one second, Dwayne, because I want to explain what you just said, because a lot of listeners may be new. So he said that one bike was $1,200 and another bike was $500, but what he didn't know was that the group set, meaning like the gears, the shifters, the crank, and then also the gears on the back wheel were different levels. So that's the reason why the bicycle was $500, even though the frame, the handlebars, and the rims and everything were the same, but the actual group set, which means, like I said, the gears and how you shift and everything, that was a different level. So it wasn't the top end level, it was actually the bottom end level. So that's what made the bike $500. So was this a steel bike or aluminum bike at that time?
Oh, it was steel. All steel. Yeah,
so carbon, not to get off track, so I just started riding like 2011. So aluminum, about what time frame did that come along?
Carbon.
Aluminum, because I know you said that was steel, so aluminum came along.
Aluminum and carbon almost kind of came at the same time. I think aluminum may have been slightly later.
Okay.
Slightly later. Because the carbon frames at that time were really experimental.
Okay.
Okay. There's a manufacturer in Italy that was making one. A company in the U.S. was making one, but they weren't mass sold because most people weren't sold on carbon at that time. And most of the people were riding steel bikes at that time.
Right. All right, so to get you back on track, you went up to this bike shop and you noticed that go from there.
Yeah. So I noticed that, the components were what I was looking for in brand name. Italian components, like Campagnola, which is one of the biggest manufacturers of Italian components. Well, actually, they're the only manufacturer, I think, for Italian components for bicycles. And so it had all that on there. I didn't know it was different levels to the Gruppos, right? So I got the bike. I paid the guy $500 on the spot. And the bike turns out it was too small for me. I didn't know that. I know nothing about bike fits.
Right.
Okay? The guy just raised his seat and, yeah, you're good. Right? So I gave him his money, and I brought the bike home, and I showed my mom the bike, and the first thing she said was, "You spent $500 on a bicycle? You don't even have a car." I was like, "No," I said, "I'll get the car later. I need this bike now. I need this bike." And she shook her head, and that was it, and I got the bike. I started riding it on the weekends, and my friend, a good friend of mine, been known since 12 years old, he lived in San Jose, which is about 30 miles south of me, and he got a mountain bike with his brother. And one day, I told him, back then, on the phone, you didn't have call waiting and all that other stuff, right? You had to call people on the phone, right? Remember the numbers or whatever. But anyway, I called him up and told him, "Hey, I got a new bike." He goes, "Well, what kind of bike you got?" I said, "I got a road bike." He goes, "You got a mountain bike. We ride mountain bikes down here." I go, No. I said, "Up here it's road bikes." So he goes, "Well, I'm going to come up there this weekend and check out your bike." So he rode his bike from San Jose up here, and it took him like 3 hours, I think he said. He got there. I showed him the bike.
About how many miles? About how many miles? How many miles was that?
Well, from his house is about maybe 30 miles.
Oh, okay.
By mountain bike down the main thoroughfare, which has 1.5 million lights. So it took them forever. But back then, you didn't know routes, right? You just went the regular route that you go when you were a kid. So
right.
The other guy knows there's ways to cut across, get around all the traffic. So when I let him ride the bike, he went down the street, he came back, and he said, "Man, this bike is fast." He goes, "Man, I'm going to sell my mountain bike and get a road bike." And that's kind of how I started riding and riding as a group with my childhood friends, because they all started getting road bikes, and we would meet, at their house or my house, alternate different weekends, and we would ride together. And from there, riding together, we got so into it and started meeting new people that we joined the bicycle club. And from the bicycle club, we started racing. And then from there, we left the club and started our own club, which is.
Let me ask you this too. When you guys, because I know I don't know, but was it? Did you guys become like the cool kids in the neighborhood on the high end road bikes, or were you like ostracized from the I guess the black community?
No, not at all, because like I said, the city was majority white. So I had a lot of black friends, a lot of Latino friends, some Asian friends, and they were all immersed into the dominant culture, if you will. Right. So seeing us riding bikes, that was it didn't raise any eyebrows at all. You know, it wasn't like, hey, black guys don't ride bikes. No, it wasn't any of that, because we did a lot of things that only white people did on a daily basis. So it was nothing. It was nothing to do it. But now, once we got into racing, you're talking the early 90s now, there wasn't a lot of black racers. We were like the black racers in the area, and we used to catch hell at the races.
Now, when you say catch hell, I know what you mean, but kind of give us a couple of examples, if you don't mind.
Okay, so my friend started racing first. We all rode together every weekend for a couple of years, joined the club and all that stuff, but none of us really wanted to race, but he was the first one to want to race, because I saw a race, and it looked pretty dangerous to me. But, he was always the kind of, looking for a challenge. So he went out there to his first race. It was a club race. So me and his brother went there to show support, right? So we're watching him going around racing and stuff like that, right? And it's looking pretty crazy, and he's kind of hanging off the back, and then he gets in, he's having a hard time, and he's one of the strongest guys. I'm like, man, if he can't hang, man, I'm not racing. He's stronger than I am, right? So after the race, we're in the parking lot, me and his brother, and he comes flying up in the parking lot on his bike. And he's like, man, I'm going to kick this guy's you-know-what. I'm like, what happened? What happened, right? It turns out that he was a beginning racer, so he was a little sketchy. And for your listeners, sketchy means you're all over the place. You're left, right. You can't hold a straight line because you're nervous and you're not used to riding around people. So what happened was, he was a beginning rider. He was nervous. He was doing a little bit of that, and the guys were yelling at him. But it wasn't so much that they were yelling at him, and I'm pretty sure you know what I mean. It was the tone. Right. The tone in their voice, the way they were yelling at him. Right? And coming from the background that he comes from, and we came from, group sports, and he had a boxing background. And as you know, in our culture, we take those things to mean a kind of a disrespect when you yell at us like that. Right. And that's exactly how he took it. So when he came over there and told us what happened, of course, we rallied around our friend, and we went to go look for the guy. And so from that point on, we got kind of like a reputation amongst the other people who were racing there. And like I said, 99% white. Right. As the troublemakers. Yeah, troublemakers. We had troublemakers. We had an attitude. They tried to, kind of ostracize, like nobody would talk to us before and after the race, that type of stuff, And that happened a lot in races as well, too.
Did you guys ever get a chance to kind of like, like you're telling the story right now, to kind of rectify that situation? Maybe whether it was, 6 months later or 16 years later, to where you guys actually sat down and discussed, hey, look, this is what we thought when this happened, or did you ever get a chance to rectify that, or?
No, because we actually talked about it right then and there, but we didn't understand. We didn't understand why they had that tone. I understand now, but I didn't understand then. I understand that they didn't want us there. They felt threatened by black people actually being into the sport.
Oh,
That's what it was.
I got you.
And the only reason why they began to come around and talk to us is because we got better as cyclists. We started beating them.
Right.
They kind of begrudgingly gave us a little bit of respect. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But when we got into races, where you're racing not with just people that are like in a club that you're familiar with, you're racing all over the city in Northern California, Southern California. Once we got into there, everywhere we went, we were the black guys in the race. We looked at all the other categories, and there were no other black people racing.
Right.
So I'll give you one example. We were warming up before a race. And at this time, we had started our own team, and we had white people on the team, we had Latinos, we had Asians on the team. We started the team. They followed us from the club because they knew that we were good riders, and we were going to start our own team because we knew that we weren't getting the respect that we were getting in the club. So even back then, for whatever reason, we had the mindset that if you're not going to respect us, we'll start our own club and determine our own destination.
Now, how long, I know, like I said, you guys had just started riding. How long did it take you guys to go from, at the age of, 19 or 20 to becoming really good riders and winning races? How long did that take?
Okay, so we rode just amongst ourselves for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years. Then we joined the club, so that's 3 years riding. We were in the club 1 year, and then the following year we took out a racing license. That's 3.5 to 4 years in of riding, 1 year of club riding and learning how to ride in the pack. Now our first year of racing, which we were Category 4. The categories start at the bottom. Getting races are Category 4. The next level is Category 3, Category 2, Category 1, professional. So we started at 4. So we spent 2 years, 3 years in Category 4. We were winning our club races amongst our club members, but we weren't winning the sanction races, but we were placing high, right? In the top 5, top 3, sometimes second place.
Right.
Now that third year, everything clicked. We knew how to race. We understand the tactics. So our third year as a Cat 4, we started winning races in the club and around the area, right? But now we were starting to become known because they probably say, yeah, those black guys, man. They probably didn't know our names, but they would call me by another guy's name and then call him by my name. And I'm kind of like a medium complexion. They were dark, but different heights, different weights, but they get our names all twisted around, right? So that was part of the impetus for us to lead the club. So I would say 3 years into racing, we started to figure it out and started winning races.
Now I want to ask you because I guess I consider myself a beginner to intermediate, rider. So with these races, because there's some tours and then there's races. With these races, and this is for, the new listeners that may, find this podcast, how long was it based on time? Because it was a crit, right? Were these races
criterion.
Criterion races, short circuit races. Was it based on time or laps?
Oh, those are it can be a combination. A lot of times what they'll say is it's going to be 15 minutes plus 5, not 15, that's really short. They'll say, okay, it's going to be a 30-lap race, right? And then sometimes they'll say it's going to be 45 minutes plus 5 laps. So they'll time it 45 minutes in a race, they'll ring the bell and say 5 laps or something like that. Or they'll just go straight laps, like 30 laps, and then every time you pass by, start finish, you'll see one less lap. So it'll start with 30, and you come around and you see 29, so forth and so forth.
Right. All right. So I don't want to take you too far off track. So I know you were saying that he's talking about the racing and you guys.
Oh, you mean? At the point where we started winning.
Right.
Yeah. It was basically about 3 years into being a lower category where we started winning races consistently, and then you have to garner points to move up to the next category. So to move up to the next category, you needed 15 points. So first place, you would get like 10 points. Second place would be 8, 7, 6, something like that. And you had to accumulate 15 points in a calendar year. And if you got the 15 points, you can move up to the next category. So that's what we did. All three of us moved up at the same time because we all got 15 points each. That's how good we were doing. And so we moved up to Category 3. And so we got in Category 3, and it's the same thing. We were placing, we were winning, and to move from a Category 3 to a Category 2, you need 20 points. Right. I got 20 points to move up. My other friend got 20 points. The third guy, he didn't have the points. He just wasn't dedicated to training. He had all the talent. He just wasn't dedicated to training. So
who was the governing, I guess you could say, like I said, I'm just trying to educate, new listeners and myself. So who was the governing body at this time? Meaning, like, was it USA Cycling, UCI, or? Well,
at the time, they called it. It wasn't called USA Cycling. I forget what it was. I forget what it's called because at the time in my district, because across the United States they have districts. So you have a district representative who actually manages the racing in that district, and then the governing body manages everything nationwide. Gotcha. So our district was called NorCal, Nevada being the next state over. It was called the USCF. That's what it was, United States Cycling Federation.
Nice, okay.
USCF. And then their logo was like a rider in the dropouts in the lower part of the bars, and the back of it, and behind him it was like a red, white, and blue, kind of like the American flag.
I think that's the same one I had posted before.
Yeah, USCF. Now they call it USA Cycling.
Right.
But
all right, so I'm not.
That was called NorCal. I forget what it's called, NCA or something like that.
I got you. All right, so I'm not going to interrupt you anymore. I'm trying to get, but like I said, I'm just trying to, educate some of the, newer listeners on the lingo and, what's really going on. All right, so you started riding, you guys started winning, you're at level 2, and go on from there. Yeah,
so I upgraded to level 2, and my friend who had the points didn't want to upgrade. I was like, why? He's like, oh, we got this Category 3 team. We're doing pretty good. I go, yeah, but it's no longer a challenge. We know how to race. We're placing consistent. We need a challenge. Let's move up to the Category 2s and race with the Category 1s and the pro guys. And he's like, no, you go ahead. I was like, So I did it because I'm about that, right? I like challenges.
Right.
The only way you grow as a person is challenge yourself.
The only way we grow is challenges, brother.
Right. So I got into the category, the pro, what they call the Pro 1-2, Pro Category 1-2. Now, that was a whole different beast right there. A whole different beast. Those guys are riding and training 300 miles a week. That's what you had to ride to race in that category. And I was only riding like 200 miles a week. So I thought, okay, I'm going to get in these races. I'd be well in the 30s. I'm a pretty good sprinter. I can climb pretty deep. I'm kind of like an all-around guy. I got in there. The first race I did was in a city south of me, and the pro team showed up. I don't know if you heard of Levi Leifheimer. He used to ride for the Postal Service.
Yeah, I heard of him.
Well, he was in the race. At the time, he was racing domestic, what they call a U.S.-based pro team. They went over to Europe, but they were the team. They were called Mercury, I think it was Mercury or something like that. But so we get in this race. It's a 70-mile road race, basically flat with a couple of little hills. And first lap, it was just blistering. I mean, it was strung out. What they call strung out means every rider's in single file because the speed's so high that you try to create a draft by getting behind the rider in front of you.
Right.
So anytime you see the peloton, what they call the group of cyclists that are racing the peloton, I think it's a French word, anytime you see them like 3 abreast, 4 abreast, the speed's not that high. You see it strung out like that, the speed is high. So the first lap is strung out the whole time around the lap. And I'm shaking my head going, wait a minute, this is crazy, because in the lower categories you wouldn't see that kind of speed like that, right?
Right.
So I'm just trying to hang. I mean, I'm in pretty good shape. I'm like, I'm probably 29 years old or something like that. So I'm hanging in there. The second lap is pretty much the same. A couple little times where they slowed down, and the pack's getting a little smaller, but I'm still hanging, and we're doing 4 laps that day, right? So on the 3rd lap, back then they had a motorcycle that would pull up with a chalkboard, a little chalkboard, right, to tell you how far anybody who is off the front or who has broken away from the peloton, how far out front they are. So the guy came up there, and he pulled up next to the pack, and he wrote 2 minutes and 11 seconds. And I turned to my friend, I go, what do they mean, 2 minutes, 11 seconds? Who could be off the front for 2 minutes, 11 seconds? We haven't slowed down. We haven't dropped below 27 miles per hour for the last hour. Who could be off the front? All 3 of the pro guys were off the front ahead of us by 2 minutes and 11 seconds.
Wow.
And they stayed away. And won the race 1, 2, 3. Right? Wow. And I finished I think I finished 25th or something like that, but I was happy to survive that race. It was the hardest race I'd ever done in my life.
Hey guys, Marcus here, and be sure to subscribe to our full episodes on YouTube and get behind the scenes on Instagram. And if you have any community information, you can email us at blackonbikes@gmail.com. That's black without the S, onbikes@gmail.com. And if anybody asks you why you're so happy, tell them you're on that crank. You know.
27 miles, I'm not averaging. And for those who don't know, like 1 or 2 miles an hour difference is like the difference between passing out and keeping up with everybody else. Right. So 27.
You definitely can see a little cross-eye. You start wondering, why am I doing this to myself?
Exactly. Because like the difference between, I'm right around 18, 20. Well, I haven't been riding that much this year because I've been focused on this, but so I've probably dropped off. But like I said, the difference between like 18 and 20 miles an hour is like you killing yourself trying to keep up with other people. So what has been your fastest average time, you think?
I would say the fastest average time I've ever done was probably in a criterium, and like I said, it was in a professional category 1-2 race. Again, some of the pro guys showed up. It was in the city, and there was 100 guys on the line. And well, you got to remember, this is before Strava, right? Before Strava, before power meters, before a Garmin. You just had like a basic cycling computer. It might have had speed, average speed, distance, time, a stopwatch, and a clock or something like that. That was it, right? So, and the results of the races weren't posted online until later, but they were posted in what they call news groups. But nothing was. I mean, if I try to find my results now from then, it's very, very hard to find.
Right.
Okay? So this particular race that I was in, we started with 100 people on the line. It was a really warm day, and it was just a blistering pace from the gun. A criterium, flat, 4 corners. It was so fast, Marcus, that about halfway through the race, I was getting ready to just stop. I was going to pull off, right, because they weren't easing up, and I was maxed out. But I looked behind me, and there was guys on my wheel. And, when you're in a race, you can't just stuck because the guys behind you are a gap's going to create, and they're going to get pissed because now they got to sprint around you to get back on, right? Get back on the back of the pack. So I just told myself, okay, I'm going to give it one more lap. If they don't slow down, I'm pulling out. I didn't even have time to drink water. That's how fast it was. Because if you reach down for your water bottle, you might lose the wheel in front of you, and you might be out of the race now. So I didn't even want to reach for water. My mouth is dry, everything. So luckily for me, they slowed down just for a minute, like about 5 seconds. I reached down, grabbed a fistful of water, took a couple of deep breaths, and then they went again for about 10 more minutes, the same speed. So I went through that 5 or 6 times during the race. But this was the crazy part. Next thing you know, they rang the bell for 5 laps to go. I couldn't believe it because I'd never looked at the lap cards. I didn't know how much time I had to go because it was so fast. I was just concentrating on staring at that wheel right in front of me.
Right.
And so I finished the race like in 20th place, but like 40 guys had dropped out of the race. So that had to be, the average speed had to be probably 28 point something, 27 to 28 for like an hour.
Wow, man. That's cooking, brother.
It was the hardest race I've ever done, man. It was crazy.
Now, so that people understand, like, the level of, like, the Tour de France and stuff like that, what is, like, the average speed of those guys are, like, riding? Is it, like, around 35?
No, it depends. Like, if it's a mountain stage where they're doing a lot of climbing, of course they have to do a lot of descending.
Right.
So the average speed is going to go up. Now, they can descend at 60 miles an hour because they have a closed course, which means there's no traffic coming up the hill.
Right.
Right. So they can take the inside of the turn, and, you know, they can take a nice line and keep their speed really high. For a mountain stage like that, you know, it might be pretty high, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like I was watching the UCI tour of 2016 when they was in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi.
Oh,
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, that's all flat out there.
Yeah, so where it's kind of flat at, I mean, still, though, are they averaging around about 35 on something flat like that, you think?
They probably could, because the hour record, which means an attempt by one rider with no benefit of a team inside a velodrome, which is an inside track, right, with bank turns, environmentally controlled, no wind. That's where they attempt the hour record, which means that the rider starts on the whistle or the bell, and he sees how far he can go in an hour. The distance or the average speed for the hour record, and you got to remember, they have aerodynamic fitting clothing. They got a special bike,
right,
a faster bike. I think that the record is somewhere around 32 to 33 miles an hour by a single man with no help. Now that's for an hour. That's crazy fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy fast.
And for those who don't know,
I want to get into the doping thing and all that other stuff. That's a whole nother issue.
Right. But for those who don't know, velodrome is kind of like an indoor gym, but it's an indoor track. Is all it is, and it's like
it's an oval shape.
Well, it's an oval shape, and not necessarily indoor, but it's an oval shape. But
yeah, they have outdoor tracks as well.
Yeah, they have outdoor tracks as well. All right.
And those outdoor tracks tend to be made with a cement surface, and the indoor tracks tend to have wood.
Correct. All right. So, you're out in California. This is something I've always asked, ask people so that the listeners can have an idea on places to ride. So, out in California, now I know you talk, and you're close to, is it Google or Facebook? I can't remember.
Oh yeah, like 5 minutes away from all that. Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that stuff.
Right. So what is popular, I guess, riding trails or popular riding routes out near you?
Well, the most popular one is what they call the Loop. The Loop basically is right by Stanford University. There's like there's 3 roads that converge into one part, and the Loop is like a 12-mile, I think it's 12 or 14 miles, and it's basically like take you from say clockwise at the start. It's a 2% grade for about 4 miles, with some riders that are like 3%, 4%, and then you come to the back part of the Loop, and that's Portola Road. It's basically downhill about 5%, and then you come around the back or the finishing part of the Loop, which is called Sandhill Road, which takes you over a major freeway. It's about 5% or about a mile. And then you descend down into basically back to the start. So that's a very popular area for college kids, for guys that race, for recreational riders. And then the other most popular. How many miles
is it?
It's about roughly 14, I think.
About 14 miles. Now just so the listener get a visual representation. What major city in California are you closest to? Are you like in north, like near San Francisco, or where are you close to?
Well, San Jose, California, is about 10 miles south. Okay, the 49ers Stadium, where the 49ers play, is about 6 miles south. San Francisco is about 40 miles north. Oakland is about 45 miles east.
Okay.
Right. Palo Alto, like I said, Palo Alto is pretty well known. Stanford is like 6 miles away.
Oh, so all I have to really do is just know Stanford.
Oh, yeah. There's so many. It's a very cycling-heavy area. A lot of cyclists I'll give you an example. A lot of the city councils, from Palo Alto to my city, which is Sunnyvale, to all the neighboring cities, they have infrastructure in place where most of the major roads have bike lanes.
Right. Yeah, California is definitely leading in that in that infrastructure, probably more so than anywhere else in the United States. What would you think?
Well, I haven't been too many other places, but I can tell you I've seen the growth of the infrastructure of bicycling. They even have what they call Bicycle Boulevard. It runs basically through Palo Alto to downtown Palo Alto, and once you get on it, the cross traffic, right? The cross traffic at every street, they have to stop, but the bicyclists don't. There's no stop signs the whole length of the thing. It's really cool.
Man, you being modest, man. You know, you guys out in California leading all the innovation, and well, I mean, no, seriously, because I was in the Navy, and on the East Coast, everybody's kind of, even when I was in the Navy, everybody was uptight. You know, your uniforms are always like A1 perfect, no threads hanging, no lint, nothing. But the West Coast guys always, when they came over here, maybe came over for like a 2 or 3 month school or something like that, they actually hated it because everyone was so uptight. And there was no innovation and creativity, so they couldn't wait to get back to California.
Yeah, and, it's a liberal state for sure. You know, a lot of things are acceptable here.
Right. But, having an open mind, too, like I said, I just love the creativity of California. I've been to San Diego quite a few times. So the West Coast, California, I really love it out there, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, you got a lot of innovation. I mean, Apple Computer is less than, 5.5 miles away. As I told you, I used to work there, so I'm kind of familiar with the company. Then on Sand Hill Road, which is part of the loop I was telling you about, that pretty much that whole stretch leading into Stanford is where all the venture capitalists have their companies. I mean, major venture capitalists like TIPCO, and Venrock, I think it's called, and some other ones. So once if your business address is such and such Sand Hill Road, you're pretty much in the money, in the high tech, into
and just so people know that the venture capitalists and angel investors are two totally separate things. If you're a venture capitalist, there's some serious stuff going on out there, buddy.
Oh yeah, a lot of money, Mark. I have to tell you, and your listeners, if they ride and they want to come out here, they'd be amazed at the amount of affluence that's around here.
Right.
It's mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can go from one city to another, these smaller cities in these outlying areas, and you're seeing major, huge houses, gated communities. And it's just I shouldn't say white-collar sport, but it's a sport that these guys have the money to buy top-end equipment. It's not uncommon to see a 12.5K bike with top-of-the-line wheels. And we're talking about a guy who's in his 60s, who's pretty much overweight and really can't go fast, but he's got that bike. Right?
And for those who don't know, 12.5K means $12,500 bicycle. Yeah. And I'll tell you, and they spend that money, and you go into these bike shops, and I've gone into bike shop, and I watched a white man walk into the bike shop. He was looking to get into riding. Now, he wasn't at Walmart. He went into the top-end Palo bike shop. He was looking to get into riding. I kind of listened to the sales guy talk to him, and the sales guy was showing him a row of the bikes. Yeah, this is our Cervelo. This is our Pinarello. This is our Colnago. And I'm thinking, don't sell that man that bike. You know he doesn't need that bike. He doesn't even know what he's doing yet.
No, but see, this is where the mentality is, because these guys have so much money. They probably have high-end stereo equipment, cars, right? They love technology. So when they go in the bike shop, a lot of times they'll ask, what's the top-of-the-line bike you have? Because they want top-of-the-line. They don't care if they don't really need it. They can afford it. So some guy walked them around, started pointing out all the stuff. I mean, the bike had top-end race wheels and stuff like that, right? And so all of a sudden they pulled it off the rack. The guy went and test rode it, came back, and he goes, I really like it. He goes, I think I'll take that. He goes, but I need shoes and I need a helmet too. So the guy sold him the $300 shoes, $250 helmet. That guy rolled out there with about $14,000 worth of equipment, and the guy probably didn't even know how to get into the pedals. But he pulled out his gold card, put it on the counter, and that was that.
Wow, man. Must be nice, brother. Must be nice.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said when I was in there.
But now you're riding a Landshark, correct?
Right.
Yeah. How did you? Well, actually, I'm gonna go back. Do you have a favorite brand? And I think it's Landshark. I think we may have talked about this before. I'm not sure. But do you have kind of a favorite brand that you kind of lean towards?
Yeah, well, I've been riding Landshark since my early days of racing because when we had our team, we were looking to get, back then they called it a pro deal, right? So you got like a discount on equipment and stuff. So we called around to try to get discounts to all these different companies, right? And sometimes they give you like $5 off, whatever. So, we were all looking to, being creative as we are as people, we were looking to get custom-made bikes because we wanted to have, that's how we are. We want custom-made bikes. We want custom-made right? And my friends are on the same page as me. The white people are like, hey, whatever you guys decide upon, right? Well, we knew what we were going to do. So I called up the guy who made Landshark bicycle frames because I know they were custom at the time, and a lot of people weren't making custom bikes. This is when they were still steel bikes. And he was based in L.A., but he just recently moved to Oregon. So I called him up. I said, hey, this is who our team is. We're looking to get some custom frames, and do you offer a pro deal? And he goes, where are you guys located? I said, well, we're in Northern California. He goes, oh, yeah, I know a lot of people there. Yeah, sure, I'll give you guys a pro deal. So just on the phone call, the guy sent me a price sheet. He faxed it, right, because he didn't have email, right? He faxed it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. I said, we can get custom frames for $650. That included paint. We can have our names on it, any color of paint we wanted, blah, blah, blah. So I told my friend, we ended up ordering like 5 frames.
Wow.
So over the years, we just kept ordering different, every time he would change tubing or go to new material, he already knew us at that point, so we'd get a great deal. So, we probably had, I would say we ordered probably 25, 30 frames over the years.
So was he actually the guy? Was he like the CEO, president, founder, or general manager? What was he?
One man show, Marcus.
So this guy, Landshark was at that time a one man's company, one man show.
It's still a one man show.
No stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
really?
And he's industry known for his frames and his quality and his things. And he
wow.
I talk to him probably like once a month because I make his clothing now.
Right.
So
that's the guy, man, you was talking about that time? Also, I don't mean to keep cutting you out, but I'll be trying to, get to the questions that the listeners are, probably we don't have in their head too as well. So that's the guy. I think me and you were talking about him before, right?
Mm-hmm.
He'll just put your stuff on, won't say nothing, and the other guy has to come to him. Was that the same guy we were talking about at the time?
I'm not sure. I'll tell you his process is that, you send him your geometry for your frame, and he'll have a consultation with you over the phone, and then, you'll hammer out what kind of tubing you want, because he can make some custom tubing, that type of thing.
Right.
And then you finally get into how you want him to paint the frame. Because his background is actually in fine arts. He used to be a fine art painter before he got into building frames and welding frames. So he has an art background. Then he got into welding. So he doesn't send his bikes out for paint. He does all of it.
Wow.
So he's still a one-man show. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome, brother.
Very talented guy. Very talented.
Right. All right. So we're going to get into some more of this fun stuff now. Favorite music?
Oh, my God. I have an eclectic taste. I listen to everything. I listen from Miles Davis to Public Enemy, right, to Black Uhuru, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, to some modern rock. The Cure, U2. I listen to everything.
Gotcha. I know me and you had talked about it. I just, try to give that's one of the questions I always ask everybody, trying to give everybody, the mindset, whatever the case may be.
Well,
because
I don't listen to country music. I'm not into country music.
Man, you can't do Hootie?
No, I can't. I have no feeling for that.
Well, not Hootie, but Darius Rucker. Yeah, I listened to a little bit of it. It's all right.
No, he's got a great voice. I've heard some of their songs, and it's pretty good stuff. But I probably wouldn't put my 99 cents iTunes down to buy it.
I got you. I'm saying.
But I can appreciate musicianship and talent.
Right.
Right.
All right. So, favorite food?
Well, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat meat of any kind. I don't eat steak. I don't eat chicken. I don't eat turkey. I don't eat fish. Although fish is my favorite food, I just recently stopped eating that. I don't eat.
Hold on. We can't just run past that. We're not gonna drag it out. But real quick, just a real short. What? How long has it been, or since you've been a vegan? Well, yeah, vegan now because you were a pescatarian when you was eating the fish, but vegan. And what was the first reason why? Like I say, we just take the real short version.
Well, I guess there's different levels to veganism, right? Some people won't eat meat or any kind of meat, but they'll eat eggs or something like that, right?
Right.
So over the years, I've kind of gone through the different stages, but I stopped eating meat when I started riding seriously in 1988. And the only reason why I did that is because I ran across a guy who was a racer, a really experienced rider, and all he kept saying to me, he goes, well, if you're going to ride, you got to have a lot of carbs. He just kept saying carbs.
Right.
So I'm like, well, what are carbs? He goes, like pasta. You need pasta.
Baked potatoes too, right?
Right. Yeah, that was a big thing then. Pasta, baked potatoes, right? Oatmeal. So I started, changing my meals, my dinners to mostly pasta based. So naturally, the meat kind of started falling by the wayside. When I look at it in retrospect, I was over carb, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't know any better. I figured the more you had, the better it was. So that's kind of how it started me down the vegan path. And then I kind of, came across some 60-minute documentaries they did about the meat industry and the beef industry.
Right.
It kind of turned me off to how they process everything. So it's been an evolution.
Yeah. I got you. All right, brother. We almost done. Just a couple more questions real quick. Let's see here. In one word, what does cycling mean to you?
Passion.
All right, great. I shared with you the last two was freedom.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's a lot, but you only gave me one choice and one word, so that's the main one. I could give you a litany of words.
No, it's what it means to you. So it's actually good to hear a different answer. You know what I mean?
Well, the reason why I gave you the answer because everything that I do and everything that where I'm at in my life right now, even with the clothing, is only because I had a passion for cycling. If it wasn't for cycling, I wouldn't be making cycling clothing. I wouldn't be making any custom clothing at all. I'd still be working, a 9 to 5 at some, high tech company.
Right, exactly. And that's the whole reason why both of us are actually on this podcast right now, is a passion for cycling.
Right. And look, I mean, that's the beauty of cycling for me. I've met so many people, and I truly believe that my life took a change for the better.
Right.
The minute that I tore my car up and started riding my bike.
Right.
If not for that life-changing event, I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have met a lot of people that are really cool people that are in the industry. Yeah. And I consider myself even now like an evangelist for cycling. Cycling to me is like a religion because a lot of people when they get into it, they want to tell other people about it, right? They want to bring you into cycling. It's the same type of thing, And I share it with my family. I got my brother into riding. I got my other brother into riding. And people that I meet that ask me, "Do you ride?" I tell them that I ride, and then they ask me, well, I always wanted to ride, but I got a really old bike. So I just encourage them to go to the bike shop and look at some of the bikes, maybe get a bike on Craigslist, because I know this person, they find the same passion that I found when I got into it.
Right.
Now there'll be more cyclists on the road, which is good for everybody.
Yeah, and you know what? I just seen yesterday, as a matter of fact, because I was looking for some, some information and stuff like that. I'm trying to stay up to give you guys, the best content as possible. I seen where Adventure Cyclists, they actually created a route system. We're actually in the process of creating a route system, a bicycle route system throughout the U.S. So it has its own, now you have like the highway sign, like Highway 85 or Route 66. So they actually have their own sign now. And I'll link some of this stuff up in the, put links to some of this stuff up on the YouTube channel too as well when it's aired.
Well, that'd be fantastic. So would they be like going on some of the major highways, or they taking some of the byways?
No, they actually created a route. It's already in process. I think they probably I think they started in New York, so they're probably around Georgia now, I think. Don't quote me on that. I just kind of briefly looked at it. But so they're taking to answer your question, both the back scenic routes, and then they also have the inner city kind of mingled in there a little bit too as well.
Wow, that's excellent.
Yeah, but I'll put the link in, like I say, so you guys and stuff, find it. So that's really like the whole reason of this podcast, so everybody can be educating, in our community, and also keep up with what's going on in cycling, globally at the same time.
Right.
Yeah. All right, brother. So, if you could, what country or city would you like to visit and cycle? Whether it's one country or you got 2 or 3 on your list.
Anywhere where there's a hill or an open road is good enough for me. But I don't know. Maybe I would like to climb some of those routes that they do in the Tour de France or the Giro d'Italia, which is the Italian version of their tour of Italy.
Right.
Because there's some beautiful scenery there, coastal cities, that type of stuff.
Right.
But anywhere. No
as long as you're on the wheel, as long as you ride, huh?
As long as I'm riding, that's good. I do want to go to some different states within the U.S. and check out the local cycling community there in those states and do some group rides in different states. I would like to do that. But I'll tell you one thing, Marcus, is really something I'm yearning for, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to satisfy this yearning that I have, but
don't say coast to coast.
Where I live. What's that?
I said don't say coast to coast ride.
Oh, no, not coast to coast. Okay. I mean, that's why I asked about the route system you're talking about, because a lot of cyclists get killed out there in those open highways because people aren't used to seeing cyclists out there on those roads. Without a support vehicle, you're kind of vulnerable, But living in the area that I live in, which is predominantly white, I don't get a chance to ride with other black people as much as I'd like to.
Right.
Right, and the some that I do see, like my daughter lives in Oakland, like I said, Oakland has a lot of black people there. When I go to visit her, it feels great to be around people that look like you everywhere you turn.
Exactly.
You see what I mean? So I love cycling, I love riding with anybody, but I really want to get down there to L.A. and ride with the groups down there, the Major Motion guys, right? I've probably ridden with a black woman, I would say maybe once, since I started cycling.
Wow.
And that's really a shame. It's a shame, and I don't like it, but I live where I live.
Right. Then like I say, that's what we're trying to solve here, brother, man. I'm so passionate about this. Like I say, me and you, I talk to you more than anybody else I talk to in cycling. I know we've both been pretty busy for the past 2 months, but other than that, me and you talk, me and Dwayne talk quite a bit. All right. But yeah, brother, I like to say, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your wealth. And also go ahead and tell everyone how they can reach you on Facebook and your website and all that other good stuff.
Right. Well, thanks for having me. I've had a great time talking to you, and hopefully your viewers or your listeners can actually take some of the information that we provide them and help them in their cycling adventure. Well, right now I have my main website, which is D-Dub Custom Sportswear. That's D as in David, D as in David, U as in upper, B as in boy, customsportswear.com. Our Facebook page is, I guess it's Facebook /D-Dub Custom. I can go over there now and I should know, but I rarely go to my own site.
Well, you had your head down doing what you love the most, so we understand.
Yeah. No, it's Facebook.com /D-Dub Custom Sportswear /. And I'd also like to point out to your listeners that D-Dub Custom Sportswear supports the Bike Bond program. And for your listeners, Bike Vaughn, B-I-K-E, Vaughn, V as in Victor, O-N as in no, .org. It is a program started by a sister named Yvonne Rucker.
Go ahead.
Like most of us work at a company, and she was volunteering at the local track, okay? And there were some young black kids there that were interested in what was going on at the track. So she finally started to get a couple of kids interested in actually doing the track thing, right? At the velodrome, outdoor velodrome, located in Michigan, Rochester Hills, Michigan. Okay?
Right.
So she quit her job, okay?
Wow.
She took out money out of her 401k to pay for the kids to go to the track because the kids lived far away and they came from underprivileged backgrounds. They had no money, they had no cycling clothes, they had no bikes. But the program she started at the track, they had loaner bikes at the track to get the kids in, for the kids to get on the track. So I saw a story on YouTube about this, and it really interests me because I always wanted to help get more people, black people, into cycling. But like I said, where I live, there's not a lot. So I always wanted to do it, but I got sidetracked with my business, my team. It was always something that came up that I couldn't devote the time to do it on my racing schedule. But when I saw that she was already doing it, I had to lend my support. So I contacted her. We had a teleconference. I asked her what she needed. She goes, well, the kids don't have any clothing. They need helmets. I go, well, look, I can cover the clothing. So that's what I did. I put my money where my mouth is, and I made sure those kids had clothing. So right now they have custom clothing. So when they show up at the track, they don't look like the ragtag, kids. They can hold their head up high. They look good. They're progressing. They're doing well. And I would encourage anybody that wants to support the program. They have I think she has a GoFundMe account set up too. But if you go to bikevaughn.org, there's a donate button there, so your listeners can donate if they're interested.
Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll take that. Like I said, I've seen it myself, but how me and you are having our head down because it's a lot of work. But I'll put that link on the YouTube channel and then also on the SoundCloud and Facebook too as well.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So I appreciate you, brother, and I want everybody to know, like I say, if you were planning on getting a kit or any other type of sportswear, that's the reason why it's called D-Dub Custom Sports. And I know this guy's heart, man, he has an amazing heart, man. He has a heart for our people too as well. But any type of sportswear, any type of cycling gear, whether it's gloves or leggings or arms, jackets, whatever case may be, make sure that you support your own. DWCustomSportswear.com.
They can contact us through the website or can send an email to sales@DWCustomSportswear with an inquiry, and we'll take care of them. We can do prototype clothing, so if you have a specific type of sports garment that you always thought about but you didn't know how to get it made, well, contact us. Try to make it happen.
Yeah, because he does the designs and everything, guys. So he'll make it happen. I've seen him design kits with people's faces, their car, so anything that you need done, make sure that you guys contact them, all right? All right, brother. I appreciate you, man.
All right. Thanks for having me, and hopefully you'll invite me back sometime again.
Yeah, most definitely, man. I got some other stuff in the works, man, so just to give you guys a hint, so we'll be going, not just audio, but we'll be going a little bit later on this year, we'll be going video too as well, okay?
All right, nice.
All right, brother. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you later, man. And just hang on for a second. All right, just hang on for a quick second. I know we went way past that 30 minutes, but it got good.
That's okay. I got time.
All right, brother. Hang on for just a second. All right, guys. So that's it for today's show, Blacks on Bikes audio podcast. So make sure to follow us here on the YouTube channel and on the SoundCloud channel and Facebook and Instagram too as well. All right, love you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right, see you later.
Hey guys, Marcus here, and be sure to subscribe to our full episodes on YouTube and get behind the scenes on Instagram. And if you have any community information, you can email us at blackonbikes@gmail.com. That's black without the S, onbikes@gmail.com. And if anybody asks you why you're so happy, tell them you're on that crank. You know.